Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. In this video, we'll be drafting out this princess that Bustier dress with Basque waistline that you can see on your screen. If you're interested, keep on watching and let's get started. So I already have my pattern paper on my work table and we'll start by drafting out the front pattern. The first thing you do is to determine your dress length. For mine, my dress length is going to be 40 inches. After doing that, we'll go ahead and start marking out our points. The first point is the distance from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10 inches. The next point is the distance from my shoulder to my under bust point, which is 13.5 inches. The next point is the distance from my shoulder to my waistline, which is 16.5 inches. The next point is the distance from my shoulder to my hip point, which is 23 inches. I'll go ahead and indicate all the points and I'll rule straight lines across. After doing that, guys, this is what I have. I have my bust point, my under bust point, my waist point and my hip point. The next thing I'm going to do is to take half of my shoulder measurement. So the start of this pattern paper is going to serve as my shoulder line. So I'll take half of my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. Okay, after doing that, I'll indicate the 8 inches with a dot. On that dot, I'm going to go down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope and I'll stand from that point into the neckline area like this. So guys, next thing I'll do is to take my armhole depth. To do that, I need to go down by half of my round armhole circumference, which is 8 inches, and I'm going to indicate the 8 inches as you can see. After doing that, I'm going to rule a straight line across the 8 inches mark. Go ahead and label this new line my chest line. After doing that, I'm going to place my tape on the shoulder line. As you can see, I have 8 inches there. I'll place the same 8 inches on the chest line. I'll indicate it with a dot and I'll connect the shoulder slope to meet this dot that I have on the chest line like this. After doing that, guys, I'm going to find the middle point of this straight line. So I'll place my tape like this and I'll mark 4 inches, which is half of 8 inches. I'll indicate the 4 inches with a dot. On that dot, I'm going to go in like this by half an inch. I'll also indicate the half an inch with a dot. And on my chest line, I'm going to place my bust circumference divided by 4. I'll also indicate that with a dot. After doing that, I'll connect from the shoulder slope to meet the half an inch and from there to meet the dot that I have on the chest line. After marking my armhole, the next thing I'll do is to determine the neck width. Okay, for the width I'll be using 3 inches and for the depth I'll be using 3 inches. Okay, as you can see on the thumbnail, this dress has a zipper in front. Okay, and the neck is a little bit high. Okay, so you can do 2 inches, 2.5 inches or 3 inches, but I'll be taking 3 inches for the width. So I'm doing 3 by 3 inches. Okay, after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and connect using my ruler. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take my bust span measurement, which is half of my nipple to nipple measurement. My nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches, half of it is 4 inches. So I'll be placing the 4 inches on the hip line, on the waistline, on the under bust line and on the bust line. After doing that, I'll connect the 4 dots into a straight line. The next thing I'll do is to start placing my measurements. So I already have my bust circumference divided by 4 on the chest line. So I'm going to add my dart allowance, okay, which is 1.5 inches. I'll add 1.5 inches to this measurement, okay. So on the under bust line, I'll place my under bust circumference divided by 4. I'll also add 1.5 inches to that measurement. On the hip line, I'll take my hip circumference divided by 4. I'll add 1.5 inches to that measurement. So you can decide to also add your stitching allowance, or you can do that after drafting. I'll advise that you add your stitching allowance when cutting on your fabric, okay, because we are still going to alter this pattern paper. So what I'm adding is my dart allowance, because as you can see, I've not added that to this yet. I'm going to be doing that later, so we need allowance to take in our dart. After placing the measurements, I went ahead to connect the lines. The next thing I'll do is to place the same measurement that I have on the hip line. I'll place it on the base, okay, and I'll connect straight down from the hip line to meet the base of this pattern paper, okay. After doing that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess pattern paper. After cutting, guys, this is what I have for my front pattern. Okay, I'm going to label it my front pattern, and I'll go ahead and draft out the back off camera. So it's still the same thing that I did for the back. The only difference now is going to be the neckline. Okay, it's going to be the neckline and the armhole area. For the width, it still remains 3 inches, but for the depth, I'll be using 1 inch. Okay, and on this front pattern, I'll be taking my side darts. To do that, you are going to take the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist in back. Okay, the difference between my shoulder to my waist at the front and that of the back is 2 inches. So from this bust line, I'm going to go down by 2 inches. So guys, I've gone ahead to draft out my back pattern, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so you can see that I've labeled it my back pattern. Everything is the same aside the neckline and the armhole. I also went ahead to take in my dart on the waist area, so I took half an inch on both sides of my dart leg, and I went up from the hip line by 2 inches, and then I connected. The neck width is 3 inches just like the front, and the depth is 1 inch. Okay, so after doing that, I went ahead to cut. So this is what I have for the back. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to work on the front. Okay, so for the front, I'm going to go ahead and alter this pattern paper. What we are going to do first of all is to take in our side dart. To do that, like I said earlier, I'm going to take the difference between my shoulder to waist in front and shoulder to waist in back, and the difference is 2 inches. I went down by 2 inches for my bust point. I'm going to go ahead and connect to meet this dart leg, as you can see me doing. After doing that, go ahead and mark the center. Okay, just mark the center. I'm going to do that later. So my shoulder to waist in front is 16 inches, while my shoulder to waist at the back is 14 inches. Okay, so the difference is 2 inches. That is how I got my side dart. The next thing I'm going to do now is to contour my under bust. So to do that, I'll label the under bust first, and I'm going to take 1 inch on both sides of this dart leg. So I'm taking 1 inch on the center front, and I'm taking another 1 inch on the side front. Okay, and on the waistline, I'm going to take half an inch on both sides of my dart leg. I'll take half an inch on the center front, and I'll take half an inch on the side front. So guys, after marking the center of this side dart, I'm going to connect it back to meet this dart leg, as you can see, and then I'm going to connect from the bust line to meet the 1 inch that I took on the under bust line. Okay, just look at the way I'm placing my ruler. I'm going to connect like this, and I'll connect on the other side. From that point, I'm going to connect to meet the half an inch on the waistline. So guys, on the hip line, I'll go up by 2 inches, as you can see me doing, and I'll connect from the waist to meet the hip like this. Okay, after taking in my darts, guys, this is what I have. This is what it looks like. I hope you guys are not confused. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to create the princess darts. Okay, to do that, I'm going to go down from my shoulder on this armhole area. I'll go down by 3.5 inches. You can do 3 inches. Okay, so I'll go down by 3.5 inches, and I'll indicate the 3.5 inches with a dot. After doing that, I'm going to use my ruler to connect from that point to meet the bust line. Okay, so if you can use your free hand, but I'll be using my ruler to do that. So I'll make sure the ruler is placed not straight. Okay, it's supposed to be slanted. Okay, so if you can't, go ahead and use your free hand. I'm going to connect all the way like this. After connecting, guys, this is what I have. Okay, so just go ahead and blend it in, just so there is no sharp edge. Okay, So guys, the next thing I'll do is to close up the side darts. To do that, I'm going to open the center up and I'm going to cut one part, which is the down part. I'm going to cut it out. I'll also cut from the armhole, okay, through the bust line. I'm not going to cut it out completely, okay. I'm going to stop on that dart leg, as you can see, okay. This is to make it easy for me to close up the darts, okay. You can see that after closing it up, it's not bulging anywhere. So I'm going to use my masking tape to just hold it down like this. So after closing up the side dart, this is what I have, guys. The next thing I'm going to do now is to create the basque in front. To do that, I'm going to label my waistline, okay, and I'm going to now connect. As you can see on the thumbnail, the back started from the waistline, okay. You can decide to go down from the waistline or go up before starting your own basque. It depends on what you want, but I'm going to create my own basque from the waistline. To do that, I went in by 1 inch from my waistline, okay. From that 1 inch, I'm going to slant to meet the hip line. That is how deep I want the basque waistline to be. So I'm going to connect like this from the waist to meet the hip, and that is all for the basque waistline, guys. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut, okay. As you can see, I'm cutting from the hip to the waist and I'm going to cut out the side. After doing that, we have the skirt part and the upper bodies, and then I'm going to cut through the dart leg. So I didn't know that my camera stopped recording while I was splitting the upper bodies. All I did was to cut through the dart leg and I removed the dart that we took. That was all I did, okay. When cutting, just make sure that you don't have any sharp edge on the cup area. If there's any sharp edge, go ahead and blend it in. So I just cut out this part from it. I hope you guys are not confused. So after cutting out, guys, this is what I have. This is my upper bodies and this is the skirt part. So guys, we'll be working on the back now. Okay, what I'm going to do is to create the princess dart just like we did for the front. Okay, what I'm going to do is to go down from this shoulder area by 3.5 inches. I'll indicate the 3.5 inches with a dot. After doing that, I'm going to use my ruler to connect from that point to meet the dart leg. So the back should not be as deep as the front, okay. So just make it a little lighter than the front. As you can see, after using my ruler, you can see that it's too curvy, so I'm going to use my free hand to just adjust it a bit, okay, just so it does not have this curvy effect. Okay, after connecting, this is what I have. The next thing is to determine whether you want a basque waistline for the back also. So it depends on what you want, but whatever you do, make sure the waist for the front and that of the back aligns, because that is where they are going to meet up. So if you want to do a basque waistline, you can connect from the waist. Go ahead and label the waist, then connect from the waist to the hip, okay. And you have the option of also cutting it straight, which is what I'm going to do because I don't want a basque waistline for the back, okay. But if you want a basque waistline, go ahead and repeat the same thing that you did for the front. So what I'm going to do is to cut through the waistline, okay. I'll cut through the waistline and I'll open up my upper bodies. So guys, after cutting, this is what I have for the upper bodies, and I'm going to close up the dart for the skirt area. For the front, you know that the dart didn't get to the skirt area because we did a basque waistline for the back, sorry, for the front. So for the back, I'm just going to close up my dart, just so when I'm cutting, I know I'm not taking in my dart, okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and close it up. After doing that, guys, this is what I have, okay. So what we are going to do for the skirt part is to slash and spread. You can see that the skirt part is a gathers. You can do gathers and you can also pleat it. It's not a pencil skirt, it's like a flare skirt, but not a circle flare. Okay, so what you are going to do is to slash and spread the skirt part. Okay, you can cut out a long piece of fabric and just gather it all around the base. All you have to do is roll straight lines on the pattern paper. Okay, you can make it 3 inches apart, 4 inches apart, depending on how many you want. Okay, after doing that, go ahead and number them and then cut it out. Then fold your fabric into two and spread them apart. You can do 2, 3, 4 inches apart, depending on how full you want the base of your skirt to be, and make sure you follow that shape that we have on the Basque waistline. Add a fanning to the base and add a fanning to the waist area. That is all. So as you can see on the thumbnail, this dress has a zipper, so I went ahead to use this brown paper to create our zipper allowance of 1.5 inches. So when cutting, the front should be open while the back should be closed because the zipper is on the front. Okay, so this is what I have for the front. I have my zipper allowance. So when cutting, also go ahead and add your stitching allowance, okay, to the side. Okay, so the back should be closed. Okay, the same thing you did for the front skirt part, go ahead and repeat the same thing for the back skirt part. And if you don't want to go through all this stress, go ahead and cut out a wide piece of fabric and gather all around the waistline. Yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.